As a mother and daughter take a dip off the Mexican coast, something lurks in the water. A sharp tug on her leg, and the mother knows she's in trouble. But before she helps herself, she hoists her daughter out of the water in a final act of heroism. Hit like and subscribe. This is Fierce. Maria Fernandez Martinez Jimenez was just 26 years old. She was a mother to her 5-year-old daughter and had recently completed her degree in marine biology at the University of Guadalajara. She enjoyed spending time at the beach. She had a love for the ocean ever since she was a child herself, and now she was taking her own child for a dip in the sea. There was nothing unusual about the day as they headed to the scenic beach. On Saturday, December 2nd, 2023, Maria and her daughter made their way to Malaque Beach in the state of Jalisco in western Mexico. It's a destination that's popular with Mexican tourists, a less well-known picturesque vacation spot. An outcrop of lava shelters the bay, and the sandy beaches stretch along the unspoiled shoreline. The warm seas and golden sands are perfect for swimming and sunbathing in the sheltered cove. That morning, a swimming race was taking place in the calm waters as Maria and her daughter undressed down to their swimming costumes and walked down to the water. They paddled in the shallows. The water was warm, it was refreshing, and the two of them laughed as they played together and splashed about. After a little while, the two of them decided to swim out to a floating platform situated 25 meters or 75 feet from the shore. They could hear the officials over the loudspeaker as the swimming race got underway. Other holidaymakers splashed in the sea all around them. The platform was always popular with families as children jumped off and into the water, splashing and laughing as they did so. Nobody was on it that day, though. They would have the whole platform to themselves. But that morning, something was about to go horribly wrong. An animal below the surface of the water swam toward the mother and daughter duo. The sounds from the swimming race nearby and the commotion in the sea from the competitive swimmers had drawn a predator to the area. It was an opportunistic hunter and always on the hunt for food. Maria and her daughter were just yards from the shore. The seafloor was only feet below them, and yet they were in imminent danger. Other tourists walked along the sand, unaware of the drama that was about to unfold. Maria and her daughter were just seconds from disaster. The predator swam upward, driving itself through the water toward the surface. As it came within inches of Maria, it opened its mouth. Suddenly, Maria felt a sharp tug on her leg and let out a cry of alarm. It felt as though she had been hit by something enormous, and then she felt a crushing sensation around her hip. The animal released her momentarily and readjusted its grip around her leg lower down. The animal had closed its immense jaws around her, holding her in a vice-like grip. Maria kicked furiously to get it off. She couldn't see what it was below the water, only the ominous dark shadow. She could feel the rough skin and the sharp teeth tearing into her leg. She tried to hit it, throwing fists into its head, trying to pry open the jaws. Although she knew she was in trouble, her only thought was the safety of her daughter. She screamed at her to swim away. Her daughter turned around to see blood pooling around her mother as she splashed in desperation. The young girl frantically made a swim for the floating platform. The horrific scene would be etched into her memory forever as she saw her mother battling with something below the surface. Moments later, Maria felt her leg give way. She couldn't tell the true severity of the situation in that moment, but when she was freed from the jaws of the marine predator, her cries were overheard by other beachgoers who rushed to her aid. They could see she was in trouble. Some had seen the attack unfolding and weren't sure what was happening, whether she was playing around or whether she was being bitten by something. A cloud of dark red surrounded the young mother as she tried to swim to shore. Others rushed into the shallows and grabbed her arms. They pulled her up onto the beach. When they looked down, they were shocked. Maria's leg had been bitten completely off. Blood poured from the open wound, turning the golden sand red all around her. As people crowded around her and tried to stem the bleeding by tying a tourniquet around her missing leg and applying pressure, Maria lost consciousness. The emergency services were called, and although paramedics arrived minutes later, they were too late. Not only had Maria lost a leg in the attack, but also suffered from a deep bite wound to her left hip. Maria had tragically lost too much blood and could not be revived. Her young daughter had witnessed a truly traumatic event, and her heroic mother, in her final moments, had hoisted her out of the water and out of harm's way. Her actions may have saved her child's life. The terrifying attack on the 26-year-old was initially assumed to be a shark, but authorities have been skeptical. Nobody saw exactly what attacked Maria. An investigation into the bite wound was not carried out, and a search for the animal proved fruitless. Cihuatlan's municipal government immediately closed the local beaches in Malake and Barra de Navidad and began an investigation into the attack. The community was left in shock. Not knowing what species had killed the young woman was a terrifying thought. There were two suspected culprits, a shark or a saltwater crocodile. Locals had never experienced any sharks approaching them along that stretch of coastline before, and crocodiles were known to live in nearby habitats. The reptiles could travel into open seawater in search of prey, such as fish, to eat. Saltwater crocodiles exhibit salt excretion glands in the backs of their tongues, which allows them to survive in salt water for extended periods of time. This allows them to travel across open water between islands. Only the year before, and 120 miles from Guadalajara, a couple of British tourists recalled their terror when they were swimming in the sea. They had heard screaming and shouting. Suddenly, everyone was running out of the water. There, gliding along the line of the surf, was an elongated shadow. The head of a large crocodile protruded through the surface of the sea, and the animal circled by the beach a number of times before disappearing from sight. There were crocodiles out there, and they posed as much a threat to people as sharks did. The swimming race that was taking place at the time of the attack was called off, and swimmers were escorted out of the water. Visitors were urged to follow the red flag warning and not to enter the water until further notice. Following the tragedy, people came to pay their respects and lay flowers on the beach where Maria lost her life. People were really moved by the passing of the young mother, who had died while saving her daughter. Crocodile attacks are rare in Mexico, but there have been attacks on tourists in recent years. In 2022, 2 American tourists were attacked as they swam in the sea, and in 2021, a British girl was attacked and almost killed when she went swimming in a freshwater river under the assurance of her guide. Shark attacks are also rare, with 95 recorded in Mexico since records began. Almost half of those proved fatal. As is often the case with attacks like this, Maria was in the wrong place at the wrong time. An hour either side of that fateful swim, and the shark or crocodile may have left the area. It was a truly heartbreaking accident, not only for Maria's family, but for those who witnessed the horrific attack.